Me.
Welcome to chapter 24 of the hugely popular podcast based on the enormously selling book, now in paperback, I Am a Memoir, the Meaning of Mariah Carey, the Memoir of Mariah Carey. This is Fab, that is Posh, and we have one whopper of a chapter today, so we should probably just jump straight in to our catch up with the things from the world of Mariah, which is Me Moments.
Me Moments. All right, so we've got a few small things this week. Mariah has been on the Twitters.
She loves the Twitter.
She loves the Twitters, especially if she can't sleep. Someone tweeted a live performance of If It's Over, and then the Lamley got involved saying, I like this one more, and they were sharing different things.
Yes.
And asked Mariah for some kind of clarity. Not sure which one she saw because it doesn't really make sense in the thread. But her response was, I do believe that it was the SNL horn section, but apparently I'm forgetful, so I'm not absolutely sure. And I was like, she's mixing references, but I love it. I'm forgetful. She's also something else that we find out at the end of this chapter.
The SNL horn section did, I remember that performance. That was
I think
great.
that's the one she's obviously that's tweaked her interest.
Yeah.
She has also tweeted birthday messages to Whitney and, of course, Snoopy.
That video with her and Whitney and Babyface just losing it in the control room. I was like, Babyface.
I know. I just love how animated Whitney gets.
Yeah. She starts jumping on the spot.
Oh, I know.
It was so
like,
cute. It was just like, oh my God. Whitney's really into this song.
Miracles don't always happen.
No.
So,
unless
you have to believe.
believe.
And then in a couple of little lead stories, we did get a clip of fantasy being used in the Ryan Reynolds movie Free Guy.
I know. I'm very excited about this. I'm going to have to see the movie now.
Right? I mean,
I didn't even care about it before.
I literally wrote...
Some Ryan Reynolds thing, whatever.
I literally wrote, I don't really know or care what else happened, just that I could sing along to Mariah. But apparently the co-star Jodie Comer, great.
Oh, Jodie Comer from...
good for her.
from Killing Eve. She is amazing. She plays Villanelle. She is... if you ever need to see Sandra Oh and some high-class murders, Killing Eve is your show. And written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Oh.
From Fleabag.
So, I need to watch that too. That's on that.
That is heaven.
I did just watch Hacks, so I'm down with the kids.
Oh my God, how good is Hacks?
So good.
It's the best show ever.
Jean Smart could just be in anything. I would be happy.
God. So after we finish, so we're doing this podcast, obviously, and then we're going to move on to our regular podcast. The regular cast. And then can we do a podcast where we watch every single performance of Jean Smart's of all time? There are some 300 entries on the IMDb.
Also, isn't Designing Women like a show that went for a long time?
Very long time.
Yeah, we can give it a crack. Look, I'm definitely down to do Bringing Down the House, starring Queen Latifah. So
one of my favourite Jean Smarts is Garden State. She's amazing in Garden State.
She's just in she was in that Samantha Who show. Like she's in literally everything.
She's in The Watchmen.
And
should we go backwards?
Sure.
No, let's not do the smart cast.
Someone did say the word Genaissance. That can be the name.
Genaissance.
Genaissance?
You know who else is having a renaissance?
Oh.
Molly Shannon.
She's never gone away from me.
Oh, she's in White Lotus and
I need to watch that too. I feel like someone else on that show is having an essence.
Jennifer Coolidge. Yes. Oh.
But no, see, Molly Shannon was in Divorce and, even the new Will and Grace as well as the old Will and Grace. So she's always kind of been around for me.
Yeah. She's, have you watched her show where she's the talk show host and it's about her, and her son's famous, I think?
Oh.
And then her two other kids are nobodies and the show's about them trying to not be nobodies.
Is it called Pat, ex-brother and ex-sister.
Her character name is Pat. Really.
No! Stop it. Mariah Shannon.
Anyway, that was a weird circle that we went in.
That, very weird. But supposedly Jodie covers the song at the end of the movie on stage.
Jodie Comer singing Fantasy.
Fantasy. Now we also had...
Is she murdering someone? Because I would love that even more.
Sure. Why not?
And making out with Sandra Oh.
Yeah. So Nick Cannon has randomly said that the only person who could match with Mariah in a versus battle is R. Kelly. So I'm going to speak on behalf of the entire family when I say no fucking way. But that does bring us to the end of a Memoir Moments.
Well, the recap is very brief because, all right, here's our recap. Mariah did the dishes and her mum called the cops.
Great.
If you forget last chapter, that's what happened. Just to catch you up.
Yeah. All right, gist me.
All
Gist
right.
me to the elbow.
This gist.
Unstoppable.
It's quite a hefty gist this week because it's quite a hefty
It's a
chapter.
heavy load
Heavy
to
load.
bear.
Mariah goes to a couple of spas that aren't spas and gets locked in. Then she can go home because terrorism, but also can't go home because terrorism. Plus she gets to a congressional award while her mother's locked in a dressing room, and she sings Hero and goes to church.
Absolutely.
A lot.
Amen.
And there is, like, that feels like a lot, and that's barely scratching the surface.
I think that means we must scratch
Oh,
neath
we are going
Mariah's surface.
to break on down, broken down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Broken me on down. Breaking me on down. All right, so we're still on All That Glitters. It's the final chapter of All That Glitters.
It's been a weirdly powerful and impactful yet short section.
Absolutely. But we like that because we've not had to interrupt it with any albums.
It's all been one.
All been chapter. Yeah. So Mariah did not have a breakdown, everyone.
She did not.
She was broken down.
Yes.
So after the debacle at Patricia's / Mariah's house, Mariah knew of a spa nearby. She didn't know much about it, but thought it would be a good place to start to get some rest. A spa.
Because I read the book, it was inverted commas spa.
Yes. She thought it would be a good place to get some rest and treatment. So she asked the Popo to take her there. And I just love...
Take me to the spa. Like
I know. I love that she's like, well, I don't have my driver, but you're here, and I'm not arrested, so you can take me where I need to go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
So
this is Uber Cop.
Yeah. That'd be fun. What a
Uber
colourful
Black,
way.
Uber Pool, Uber X, and Uber
Uber
Cop.
cops. So, oh my God. So the police dropped Mariah off at the spa or whatever, and Morgan convinced her to go inside. She signed herself in and was taken to a small room where terror soon set in.
Oh.
So Mariah could hear a mop in the distance as she tried to sleep.
Oh, is this the mop?
Stop it. I hate it so much. Oh, that filthy mop. Dirty, dirty mop.
Dirty, dirty mop. Oh, the mop.
Oh, my God. Mop me. I don't know.
This mop. This mop.
Oh, my God. It's disgusting. Why? Why do I let you do this?
I don't know. Did not consent.
Floppy mop. Okay, so while the mop
I'm delirious,
flopped,
by the way. I should tell everyone that I'm very tired. I've had a big day, and I'm delirious.
You haven't slept in 6 days.
No, not 6. I'm actually in the headspace of the chapter.
Okay, so Mariah could hear a mop in the distance and voices chattering with the name Mariah Carey amongst the laughter.
Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey. It's
Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey. That wasn't a mop.
It's a really quick mop. Mop's more.
Sometimes it's nice to mop slowly, more intimate. So she heard, oh my God, this is one sentence. One sentence. We need to get through. Okay. So, my God.
Unmoppable.
I hate you. Oh my God. So,
The wheels fall off at the start.
I think in August last year. So,
Sorry.
Mariah heard whimpers of frightened people like herself from behind other doors and felt no relief as the night wore on.
Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey. I'm dramatizing it for you.
Why do I laugh so much at that stupid noise?
I don't know. It's what makes me keep on doing it.
I keep like, crying now. Oh my God. I'm never going to mop the same ever again.
Unmoppable.
Oh my God. As I clean the gist off the floor. Okay. So, yes, Mariah heard whimpers of frightened people like herself from behind other doors, but felt no relief as the night wore on. So are we to assume that this is the cleaners gasbagging about Mariah?
And I think the other people who are there whimpering.
Maybe the patients have to mop.
Mariah Carey.
You just don't expect to hear mop. Anyway, moving on. The next day, Mariah was far from rested, but was slightly less numb than she'd been the day before. Her thoughts raced. Where's my purse? How do I get out of here? Where's my private bathroom?
Which is the ocean.
The ocean, yeah. Where is my bathroom? I don't understand. Where are the waves? But this was no spa. It was more like a prison. The food was disgusting. There was parmesan everywhere.
Parmesan. Addie, the parmesan Nazi had been there before.
I like to think that she's like the freak of this prison. Just doling out parmesan everywhere she goes. No more parmesan.
No elegant fresh linguine to be seen anywhere.
It was neither elegant nor fresh.
No.
So she didn't have her things with her, but there was a shared payphone. So Mariah tried to call a few people. I've speculated Suge Knight and a Brat's grandma.
Yep.
For who she would call, but to no avail.
Maybe just a Brat. And so can you call those
less
people for
fun.
me?
I just thought it'd be real fun if she called a Suge Knight. Suge, I'm in prison. Help me out.
Suge.
I'll conference in to Brad's grandma. You're going to break me out. So Mariah was called into an interrogation by some white dude. Tried to explain that, what was going on, but it was hard to paint the picture quickly. And it didn't matter anyway because he was already hostile, telling Mariah it looks like she needs a dose of humility.
Oh.
What a douchebag.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Right? You'd be like, because, it's not just the paparazzi, Mariah says, that try to bring you down.
Yeah.
It's white men. So Mariah tried to side herself out, but found that she couldn't. Now, she doesn't know what Morgan said to the staff, but she was treated as if she was out of control, and it did take a few days to cut through the red tape and get out.
That's not okay. Held against her will. Wrongful imprisonment.
That's it. I'm trying to think of a movie that's like. Gothica.
Oh my God. How terribly wonderful is that film?
Oh, I know.
I went to see it with like a premiere thing with my sister, and she was... She was so hung up. She's like, as if they put her there in the same institution where she worked as a psychiatrist. I went, that's what you're hung up with? Yeah. People being possessed by dead ghosts and killing everyone? That's fine. She goes, I can buy into that. But as if they put her in there.
Bursting into flames in the middle of the road.
That was the one thing she couldn't deal with. She goes, that just wouldn't happen. No. It's a great cast. There's like Halle Berry.
I was going to say, I'm imagining her sitting there going, and it's Halle Berry. How did they not know?
She's like, A, I didn't buy Halle Berry as a psychiatrist. But B, as if they put her in there.
Yeah, Penelope Cruz was in it too, wasn't
Penelope
she?
Cruz, Robert Downey Jr. It is a really good cast. It is a terrible film. I love it.
So Mariah returned to the scene of no crime, her mother's house. Correction, my house.
My house.
There
Brackets.
were
Brackets of shade. What are we calling them? Parentheshade.
Yes.
Correction, my house is parentheshade.
And there were paparazzi waiting. And the next day, the photo of her, in her little gym jams, having a little juicy juice on the front cover of the New York Post.
No.
With the headline, world exclusive, Mariah, the first photos. And I've got my parentheshade in brackets. A better writer would have called it Mariah, the first vision.
Yes.
I mean, it was right there.
Yeah.
New York Post. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So Patricia was thrilled about this, saying, look, it's just like Marilyn.
Parentheshade.
It was not. I just, reading this, it was like, what the fuck, Patricia? Like, it's just like, remember when Marilyn died?
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun? It's like, what are you doing, lady? Like, I know Mariah loves a bit of Marilyn, but come on.
Yeah.
And then, at some stage when Mariah and her road manager went to get some of her things, Patricia was on the porch in the rain playing jacks in some kind of trance. Totally normal.
Playing jacks.
That was a weird, just like, oh yeah, by the way, Mum was in a trance. Like, I'm the crazy one.
Yeah.
Something happening there. Now we get a little flashback.
Oh my God.
Because despite Patricia's glee at Mariah's misfortune, Mariah had on many occasions still invited her mother to some major life events.
I'm dreading this.
One of which was when Mariah received the Congressional Award for her work with Camp Mariah, which we need to go to.
We do need to go to Camp Mariah, although it'll be full of children. We need to get a working with children check.
And children are terrifying.
Yeah.
So Mariah
Let's
was
go there when there's none.
Yeah, great.
On the off week.
It'll just be us running around. Camp Mariah, Camp Mariah. Reenacting every music video.
I mean, she's pretty camp.
Yeah. So Mariah was presented the award by Colin Powell, who I only mention here because Mariah referred to him as Colin. Is that his name?
Colin Powell.
Colin. Yeah. Well, it's spelled like Colin.
It's spelled like Colin, but it's pronounced colon for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, that's not a thing that should ever happen.
Yeah.
I don't.
He was Secretary of State Colin Powell. He was like a general during one of the Gulf Wars. And then he became Secretary of State. Anyway.
So this whole moment, it was a big deal. The Secret Service were there, I assume. Yep. President Tom Selleck and some guy named Dick and many people from many different political backgrounds who put all of that aside for this night. For this one night.
That's what you do.
For Mariah Carey, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, but yes, also. For Colin.
But mainly Mariah. So Mariah invited Patricia and got her all dolled up, only for Piggy Pat to get shit-faced on the flight and scream, I did the best that I could.
Oh my God. By the way, parentheshade for us too, sidebar with no side eye. How did you find the vocal performance of I Did the Best That I Could?
It was more than I expected.
I know.
Yeah.
You thought I was putting it on.
In my defense, you have been known
to oversell things. I did the best that I could.
So yes, of course she couldn't help herself. She's sitting there at the White House or wherever they were, screaming, I did the best that I could across the table at all the politicians, telling them why she hates them and they're dumb. So it got to the point that Mariah's security actually had to remove her. And when they did, she was just like, instead of going, okay, yeah, no, you're right, I've had a few too many. She's like, I'm going to sit in the dressing room and scream about how much I hate my daughter.
I hate my daughter. I hate Mariah.
My daughter. Yeah, so that was really fun. And that got back to Mariah. But Mariah did get through the ceremony, picked Patricia up over her shoulder and threw her in the back of the plane where she droned in her first class cabin. Morgan is the only one I love. Morgan is the only one who loves me. Alone in her gown after receiving the highest honour ever given to anyone ever, Mariah cried.
Oh, poor Mariah. It's sad.
It is sad. So the next day, there was thankfully no word of this in the press. Once again, Mariah had protected her. Mm-hmm. Never called to apologise.
Well,
She never...
remember it.
No, probably. She never said anything, though I would argue she could have probably thrown in an I did the best that I could. But Mariah was like,
Patricia reading this book must be an amazing experience.
I wonder, was Mariah, last we know, Mariah wasn't sure if she was going to read it, but
Yeah.
I would love to have been there.
Well, Morgan's read it. He's got the lawsuit up ready to go, and he would have called Patricia and told her all the good bits. Someone else. I don't know if she's read it.
So, being Mariah Carey, it's a job, darlings.
Being Mariah Carey is a job.
And Mariah
it's
had
my
to get back
job
to
as
that.
well.
Absolutely.
It's our job being Mariah.
Yeah, it's a full-time commitment. It's a whole corporation.
Yes.
So not trusting many people, Mariah sought help from her makeup artist and friend Christopher Buckle
Yes.
to
There's
reapply
many photos
her
of
mask.
Christopher in this book.
He's there. I've not looked at the photos just yet. There's many of him on Instagram.
Yeah.
She got back to her penthouse in Manhattan, but was still quite fragile and concerned about the label and the glitter and everything else. So she says
big number 2.
Big number 2. So she says that Morgan was still very much in control, but she'd yet to see him as the puppet master, as he'd not played a visible role in anything that had happened thus far, which we did touch on in our last episode. Mm-hmm. So Mariah still needed care, and Morgan convinced her to join him in LA as there were actual spas there.
Actual spas in LA, not spas.
And there was no New York papers, so she let Morgan make the arrangements.
Oh.
When she arrived, her anxiety worsened at the news of Aaliyah's death, someone who had publicly shown her support just days before. So this was, a sad moment as well, on top of everything happening. And then, so there was so much happening, and Morgan and old mate, his friend who Mariah doesn't remember, took Mariah to her spa, which was much more like a detox facility.
Oh.
Mariah was not thrilled, but she did not resist.
Pre-Lohan facility.
Pre-Lohan is pre-low. Anyway.
I know.
Just a side note with maybe some side eye. Dina Lohan is my favourite person to follow on Instagram.
Oh, don't. I couldn't even imagine the horror.
It's amazing. So it turned out to be a hardcore facility. Mariah was given heavy, hard narcotics when really all she wanted was a little Ambien, darling.
Just want to get me some sleep.
So she did get a little bit of sleep, but it wasn't great, and she had to wear a shit hideous institutional ensemble.
Oh.
And on top of this, Mariah's face was vulnerable. The pores were out for everyone because Mariah used makeup to cover herself up so that people could literally not get under her skin.
It was a mask. That was like, I don't know if I've said this on this podcast before, but I suspect that's the thing with Brynette Elston. That was the thing I noticed with doing Celebrity Splash with her, was that all the makeup is like her, the real her, like you can't actually see me.
Yeah.
Because I'm wearing a Halloween costume, essentially.
We'd love a bit of Bryn. Did she wear it in the pool on Celebrity Splash?
Oh, yeah.
Good girl.
And she had like, her bathing suits were all kind of sponsored. I'm sure she had a different one on each time.
I love it.
Yeah.
To be amazing. That extra. So one morning, an attendant took Mariah to the common area where they were watching TV. And she saw the New York skyline as she usually would from her home. Yeah. Only this time it was clouded in smoke. She watched from afar as the Twin Towers collapsed in excruciating slow motion. So this is a hectic week, by the way. This is a lot happening. So someone tapped Mariah on the shoulder, told her that terrorists had attacked the World Trade Center, and then she was free to go.
Yeah, that's you're weird. Good.
Yeah. So Mariah's take on it was that they deemed her good to go because after the attacks, a cracked up diva was no longer interesting. She did not argue, though, because, as she said, it felt like the world was coming to an end, and if this was the end, I wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
In all of this chaos, she did not even realise that it was also the day that the Glitter soundtrack was released. So this was, like, we knew that Glitter was September 11, the soundtrack. Yes. But we did not know that this is where Mariah was on that day.
Yeah, I suspected she was somewhere not okay.
And what I found interesting was, as this chapter kind of goes on, and you say, does she ever get to an actual spa? Like, that she does follow through with that thread. So Mariah managed to get herself to a hotel and finally get some uninterrupted rest, which was enough to allow her to find an actual spa.
Yeah, not because, one her Morgan.
No, because she still had to do the best I could to get to the glitter premiere in 10 days' time. So for the premiere, which is my background...
Yes.
We're showcasing Mariah's highlights, her cut, and a blowout.
I did love her hair back then. It was amazing.
Yeah, big fan. She wore an American flag bedazzled off-the-shoulder tank top with low-rise jeans and hit that red carpet. Mm-hmm. She was blessed to have a lot of kids there, which was good because that's what was originally intended. It was for kids. It was a PG, fun thing. I never wanted it to be gritty. I never said that.
No, she did want it to be gritty. But then when it was decided it was for kids, then it was for kids. Like that. What they made was for kids.
No, forget what I said earlier. It's
I think she's talking about the product that was eventually made was
probably,
for kids.
But it's still funny to imagine. I'm just rewriting that. I know we already printed that page, but it's fine.
I'm not having you besmirch her in this moment.
How dare you besmirch? So the box office numbers for Glitter were dismal.
Yes. Mainly, understandably.
Yeah. Mainly because of 9/11, not because it was crap. So Mariah stayed in LA. That was Mariah. I was channeling Mariah.
Yeah.
There's no sarcasm there. It's facts. So Mariah stayed in LA to prepare for America, a Tribute to Heroes telethon, where she sang the Gloria Esther Carey hit Hero. The big number one. Then Mariah did return to New York, but she could not get back to her penthouse.
I love that you've managed to do this without the list of names. Good girl.
No, yeah, I know. I was like, I could. Do you know what I did do, though? I Googled if anyone regular was there. They weren't. Because I thought that would be funny if they were, and they were like, hey, I'm going to list everyone except them.
Except that one.
There's not even a name there. It's just a blank space.
And
so...
Yeah.
She's like watching the telethon from side of stage. Why is no one on stage? Like,
I should go out and sing like I do on TRL.
because no one's singing right now. I hear no vocals. Mariah returned to New York but could not get back to her penthouse due to the security risks around that area. Mm-hmm. So she found herself a hotel and blocked out her family. No more drama.
No more drama in my life.
As she's watching The Young and the Restless.
That video clip.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it happened.
She's like, this is about my family.
So Mariah found a therapist named White Buddha who was able to help her. It is now. Addie the Parmesan Nazi is not her full name. Who was able to help her unpack everything that she'd just gone through. He told her that the physical illness that presented as nausea, hives, dizziness, etc., that was wreaking havoc on her body as an effect of her trauma, had a name. Sodomization.
It's not called sodomization.
Sorry, it's somatization. Whatever.
Somatization.
Either way, it sounds fun. Look, both can be known to cause nausea, hives, and dizziness. So,
well, in you, yeah.
They only get to the sod.
I'm fine with both. Doesn't even touch the sod.
You know, any hole's a goal. Somatization. Oh, God. For me, it's just, that's it, done. Stop it, take it out. I don't know what's happening. That really hurt my cheeks. How do you do that?
I'm very flexible. Remember I was really fat? But a little skinnier, babe.
So mine's filled back out.
Yeah.
So Mariah says this time was almost the end for her. But her family and Tommy didn't kill her. They didn't permanently damage her mind or her soul. But Lord, they do try.
Lord, they do try.
Lord knows.
I wanted to, did she sing it? Did she sing?
No.
Oh.
No, I know. There wasn't any singing in this chapter. I don't think she sang the song at the end either. So in therapy, Mariah, she got mad.
Yeah.
MAD, Michael Angeles Davis. She was supporting all of these people, and they had the audacity to throw her into institutions, drug her, and try to control her life. Her therapist assured her that she was not crazy. At the most, she'd had a diva fit.
Yeah.
He told Mariah...
I had one of those today.
Yeah, I constantly. I'm having one right now. He told Mariah to think about the role that money had played in this. She'd been so lost in her childhood trauma, the betrayals, the love she once had for everyone, that she never stopped to think of the motive.
Yeah.
It was no coincidence that her mother and brother had sided with the record company, and they just happened to institutionalize her after she'd signed the biggest cash deal, record deal for a solo artist in history. History. Me, Mariah Carey, recording artist. She knew
biggest cash deal in history.
Yeah. She knew that she was a cash cow, aka the franchise, to the label, but hadn't considered this within her own family. She did already know that she was an ATM with a wig on.
Yes.
To the family, having been given the money for however long, especially her mother.
Yeah.
Yet it was not enough for them. The therapist suggested that if they could deem her unstable, they could easily get control of her finances. He asked her to look at them objectively, that, while they had their shit, they'd never consistently worked and felt that the world owed them something.
How much of this did you just go, oh my God, Brittany, oh my God, Brittany, oh my God, Brittany?
I actually didn't.
Really?
Funnily, I should have, because absolutely.
This whole thing about, it feels like now, looking back at it, so she's changed record labels, and it's almost as if, because of Tommy, who knows what he was doing to keep them happy financially.
Yeah, sure.
He might have had some things going on, just if they come asking for money, or just give them a regular amount of money, that's fine.
Just a regular amount of money.
Just a regular. Whereas now this, for Mariah and for this therapist, it feels like this is this big deal was the one that was they're after that money. But what if the reality was that Tommy was constantly paying them to keep them quiet?
Yeah, possibly. Absolutely.
And this new record company are no, you can't have money.
Who are you?
We didn't buy you. We bought her. And so that's why they're really trying to get in bed with the record company. That's why they're doing all this stuff. It's trying to prove to the record company that they're worth money.
Yeah.
It feels very weird that it coincided. Their kind of play for manipulative control was it's weird. It's but I just kept thinking about all that crap that we've now found out that happened to Britney. I
think what's so scary about the Britney thing is this has been going on for 13 years.
I know.
Been under this.
Yeah.
That's a hell of... Yeah, we're getting this from... obviously Mariah's family was a long time, but this moment in life was what? 6 months, if that. With the whole glitter and Tommy and everything.
Barely a month or so.
Or this part, definitely.
This part, yeah. But there was that brief time when, Britney was allegedly crazy, and it's why has she not been allowed to be her own boss since then?
Yeah.
And that could have happened to Mariah in this moment.
We will have to do the podcast on that book.
Oh my God.
When that gets written.
It's exciting.
So as time went on, of course, this pattern continued. Her family never changed. This seems to be talking about up till the present day. This little moment. But the therapist encouraged Mariah to recast these characters in her mind. Mm-hmm. So her mother became Pat. And Morgan and Allison became her ex-brother and ex-sister.
Yeah.
She had to stop expecting them to be the mummy, big brother and big sister that she'd hoped for. And Mariah...
Sad.
I know. And Mariah says she's found it safer to have no contact with her ex-brother and ex-sister, which does make me wonder, like we've said, Allison's gone, but is there more from Morgan in the next little... Or is this it?
This could be it. He has locked her up more than once at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mariah found it safer to have no contact with the ex-brother and ex-sister, but the situation with Pat is a little more complicated, and she keeps her in her heart and life, but with boundaries.
Boundaries, darling. I did the best that I could.
And this continues to be a work in progress, and as I'm assuming it's leave me alone, and I'll let you sing on my Christmas album. Just 6 months, and I'll give you a little spot.
That was 10 years later.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm she's probably boundaries. All right, you can have one thing. There you go. Yeah. Get you some royalties. It's like hacks, making her think that she's earning a living.
Yeah.
So after she was broken down, Mariah knew she needed to reaffirm her relationship with Sweet Baby Jesus.
Yep.
So she met Bishop Sister Mary Clarence Diane Keaton through Tots. That name again. Bishop Sister Mary Clarence Diane Keaton.
Yes.
Through her friend Tots, with whom she was rebaptized. And I've just written, I can only imagine the fuss that would have been around this. I need the freshest holy water. We're going to do it in my bath, the ocean.
And I'm bringing a separate wig to put on when I'm popped out of the water.
Absolutely. And we are sparing no expense on the bubbles.
I'm going to be baptized in champagne.
Yeah. Splash, darling. Splish. Splish, splash.
Splash. Just baptize my fingernail. There we go. That's
Yeah. Now, this was interesting because they then did a 3-year intensive on the Bible.
I know.
So this kind of makes a lot of sense as to what Mariah was doing between Charm Bracelet and Emancipation. Because I was always like, what's obviously she was writing and everything, but I'm like, oh, this is what was going on.
This is
So she went full Old and New Testicle. Much like us. Much like us with the Meaning of Mariah Carey. Like, this is the level she was putting in.
Yes.
She was podcasting the Old Testament. Yep. So Bishop Mary Clarence was even featured on I Wish You Well and Fly Like a Bird before his death in 2009.
with his choir.
I know. Well, I mean, we've seen Sister Act. For anyone who doesn't know, that's him. Movie was written about him, and they just cast Whoopi Goldberg. I don't see any holes in that story. No.
He was making Sister Act 3.
Yeah, I love Sister Act. I'm so excited for Sister Act 3. It's probably going to be terrible. I don't care. So Piggy Pat didn't understand Mariah's relationship with God, leaving messages saying, "What is it with you and your new friends and your new prayers?" Oh. But God was the only way out of hell for Mariah. Somewhere she believed her ex-brother and sister to still be. But they chose drugs and schemes to survive, which only dug them deeper and made them resent Mariah more.
And she prays for them still.
I know. And that's the thing, it's, as she said, she's recast them, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't care.
Yeah.
So we do get a moment from I Wish You Well and the conclusion of the chapter where Mariah states that Loverboy went on to become the best-selling single of 2001. Yes. It also won a congressional award, 3 Grammys, 19 Oscars, and the Brownlow Medal.
Medal.
I'm real.
Oh, I'm real.
Mic drop.
Italics.
I'm real. Look at my congressional award for Loverboy.
I'm real, the best that I can.
So we have broken it down.
Epic poshnopsis. Thank you.
I just had to barrel through some of it because
I know. Because I kept distracting you with mopping.
And mopping was, my basement is tidy.
Yeah, very, very tidy.
So shall we smash on through to a little Mariah meatiness? Mariah meatiness.
Mariah meatiness.
All right, so for Calamity and Dog Hair, our last chapter, I gave that Screenfinity.
Yes.
Fab gave that the cusp of infinity.
I gave it a cup.
Scandalous. Now the Lamley...
I knew this was coming. I was looking forward to this.
The Lamley, they threw us with a 3-way tie.
A what? A 3-way tie?
Just a casual 3-way. Was not expecting it, but it happened.
3-ways are more than casual. You really have to commit to it.
It's true. So
especially if one of them isn't really, you're not really into them. It's like, I'm only doing it with you because I liked him. Anyway.
Yeah. No. Look away. You face the wall. So yeah, they were torn between 5 to 8, 9 to 10, and infinity. So it's, it's a spread.
It's a
if
spread.
You will. It's a threesome spread. So for Broken Down, what is your Mariah meatiness score?
Well, look, it would have been infinity just with Patricia screaming, "Morgan's my favourite." I'm like, who are you, crazy woman? It would have been my favourite for that. It would have been infinity because, which I'll talk further during Can't Take That Away about some closure that I had about this episode.
Okay, very nice.
And it would have been infinity because she sang Hero again. and we got some origin stories of Fly Like a Bird. And I wish you well. So it's a three-finity. Three-way finity.
Three-way finity. Very nice. So for me, I mean, it's a random chapter in that it jumps around quite a bit and you're kind of like, where am I? What's happening? But
she's contextualizing everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But with the return of the ATM in a wig,
Oh,
I could only give it real finity.
Real finity. Real finity. I'm real finity.
I'm real finity.
I'm real.
All right. I will put that up for the Lamley to give us their little infinity. Are they real finitying? Are they three-way-ing? We'll see. Are you ready for the remix?
Yes.
The remix. The remix. All right. So mine's nice and quick. If I'd heard the cleaners mopping and gossiping about me, I'd have grabbed the damn mop and put on a show.
Oh, yes. Pop it on your head like a wig.
Absolutely. Like, this is, if you want to be doing this, like, yeah, you want to be gossiping about something, here, I'm going to burst your eardrums with my whistle register. Yeah. And then it's like,
I've got an 80s themed album coming out. You know this one?
Yeah.
That's not a DJ save my life.
Yeah, with a mop. So, because I feel like that's like taking control of the narrative. It's like, no, you know what? I'm going to do this. And then you'll be telling your friends how much I was singing. And it was a wonderful moment. I was the guest. I wasn't a guest. I was the guest to make all of your lives better.
Guest
because I'm fine. So that was my remix.
Yeah. My remix is, she does mention that her family have never really worked for money. And I'm like, well, if they want your money, make them work. Give them KPIs, give them some benchmarks that they have to hit, like turning up. Make Pat clean her own house or she won't get paid.
Gotta do those stairs, girl.
Like, if Morgan wants to organise her life, let him organise things, but, you know, nothing that's going to work. Like, just give them jobs and then you can fire them and never pay them again.
Absolutely.
They don't do their job, they get fired, no more money, goodbye.
Yeah,
see
bye.
you later. I offered you a job and you can't come around here asking for money because you didn't do the job that you were meant to get for the money. So fuck off.
I mean, they could have been doing the lighting for her little mop dance.
They could have been doing the lighting for the mop dance.
For sure.
They could have been doing a lot of things. Instead, just handouts. It's like, no one wants handouts. It's embarrassing.
I've never understood that kind of thing where certain people just expect.
Yeah, it's like, well, you've got a lot of money. You can't need all of it. It's like, yeah, but I earned all of it.
Yeah. And also,
bought this fucking house for you and you want more?
Being Mariah Carey also costs money. Like,
being Mariah Carey is expensive.
You have to put money into these things. You are a boss.
That hair is not cheap.
No.
That is amazing hair.
And I mean, we're just talking about the ATM hair.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even Mariah hair. You know, like, that's upkeep. That ATM is outside all the time. You know, the weather, my God, windswept.
No, windswept and interesting. So, yeah. Oh, there's some good remixes. I think we've got good remixes.
Yeah, I'm here for it. All right, how about our lessons? Let's see if we can go for two for two. Can take that away. Oh, Mariah's lesson. So my lesson is, if people are playing a role in your life that is no longer healthy or serves you, recast it, baby.
Yes, that is a great lesson.
It's hard and it's shit, but establish those boundaries and either ship them off or demote them to background extras, darling.
Yes, darling.
Which is definitely, without going too far, something I've had to learn recently. And it's rough.
It is hard.
But also necessary.
Yeah.
So that was the lesson I learned. It's sort of reinforced that within me. Thank you, Mariah.
Well, I had that a bit when I gave up drinking. There are some friends, like really close friends, who just stopped being my friend. And I suspect it's because who they saw reflected back at them was not, like, they felt judged, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
And it's not like I was doing that. Like, I was happy to still go out at nighttime and hang out and do all the crazy things we used to do. But I just didn't want to be drunk doing it. Yeah. And yeah, I think they felt, I mean, I can only presume, but it was just like, oh, you're not drinking anymore, then we're not friends. It was
that's interesting, because and this is probably my attachment style, would be go, oh, they don't think I'm fun anymore. So that's why they're not my friend. I wouldn't have thought of it in terms of like, oh, they think I'm judging them.
Oh, no, I was worried about that too.
I was going to say, no, I was judging them.
I was totally judging them. No, but I was worried about that too. Like there was one night where I was out for a birthday drinks for one of your clients, and she had invited a whole bunch of gay men and a whole bunch of attractive models. And I'm like, she's trying to start an orgy, clearly. And we were looking at, all the gays were looking at photos on their phone of their favourite dicks that have been sent to them.
Oh my God.
Gays have lots of pictures of
Why do I think I know half of this?
Yeah. And
table.
Yeah, you do know half this table.
Good. Well, I don't know half of that table.
Oh, no, that one wasn't there. It was the friends of, I don't know.
There's still there's a few. I don't know them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, one of the straight guys was like, why is that guy's dick like a different colour than the rest of him? Why is his dick darker than his body? And like, I could have been quite serious. And this is like, I'd been sober for months at this point. I could have been serious and explained it's because it fills with blood, basically. So it's, it's swollen.
Yeah, that's why it's
a different colour.
Bright green. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. And instead I went, because it's been up someone's poo shoot.
Oh my God.
And when I said that, it was one of those moments where everything gone quiet in the restaurant. They're about to sing happy birthday to someone. It was like a celebrity chef restaurant. I was like, oh, I don't need to be drunk. I'm like this all the time. I'm hilarious.
I'm revolted. Yeah, great.
So I was concerned that maybe I'd stop being fun when I'd stop drinking. But then like when that happened, I was like, oh, no.
No.
I don't think alcohol had ever done anything to my inhibitions. If anything, it probably stopped me doing it.
Yeah, probably. You're too drunk to be able to do it.
So it was like, oh, no, that's too hard. I won't.
Yeah. My mouth is full of something.
It's too much effort. I'm not going to go there.
All right. So hit me. What is your lesson? What can you take away from this?
My lesson is, so...
Nervous now.
When this happened, 2001, there was some stuff going on in the world. So it was a difficult time. And I also had been going through some stuff of my own and was trying to explain it to someone at the time. I just was like, I feel like so much of my emotional life is caught up with Mariah Carey's music. It's, different songs for different moods, like different things that I turn to and lean on. Like, Mariah's theme is still one of my... I need a pick-me-up moments. I need someone to tell me that I'm worth something, and that song does do that. And obviously, she uses it herself. And so, Mariah having had that moment of weakness, I guess, or not even like she's having a mental health episode, and it just was like for me was a moment of like the foundations that I had built my emotional stability on were not sound anymore. Mm-hmm. Like what have I pinned myself to? Is this ship going down? Like what, it was just, it affected me in a really heavy way. Like it was difficult. I mean, also like I was in a comedy partnership and my partner was moving to the UK. So I was kind of having to reframe my career. Like, I have to kind of more concentrate on my solo stuff again now. Like, it was a lot of heavy stuff going on. But yeah, so it was just this weird moment of, is everything I believed now not okay? And reading this chapter gave me finally some closure on that period of my life. It made me go, oh no, there were other forces at play. Yes, she was having a terrible time emotionally, but, there were the fact that, obviously Pat or someone had called the paparazzi because they're going to fork out cash for it, which we saw on the TV show Hacks. So yeah, I just was like, oh, okay. So a lot of the narrative around that was, yes, she obviously did go through.
Yeah. And she doesn't shy away from that.
No, but it was not the, yeah, it was portrayed in the press as a much bigger deal. Like, and you know, even when she came back and like she addresses this, like the drugs they put me on made me puffy, and like everyone's like, oh yeah, look at her, she's clearly on really heavy antidepressants now. Like that was a bad thing. It's like, I've been on antidepressants, they're fucking amazing. Like, just, if you need it, use it. Like whatever it takes for your mental health to be better, just go for it. But yeah, it's. And also, I guess, because, you know, she's been resilient and she's come through the other side of this and everything's been amazing. But at that time, I was like, what does this mean for me that this person whose creative output I have used as kind of like the foundation of my emotional life, like, what is that? It was a really, really affecting time. It was really difficult. And I did go and see Glitter in the cinema, and there were only 3 of us in there, and that upset me too.
Oh,
it was lunchtime. What was I thinking? Because I had gigs at night time. I could only go to the movies in the daytime on a weekday.
You love a bit of lunchtime glitter.
Lunchtime glitter is the best.
Well, you know, I think I have touched on this in this podcast. I don't remember, but I've definitely said it to you around when Kylie was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
This was someone I went to for joy during a tough time. And so when that happened, it was like, what do you mean? Like... And I couldn't listen to her songs because they were all about joy, and yet all I could think of was this person who's very ill.
Yeah.
And where do I put that? Because there was no one could control that at all.
Yeah. And it's also like that reminder of, like, you know, the gods have feet of clay kind of thing. Like, it's that, you know, we do put them on pedestals and we do think of them as more than human, and them having a human moment is just like, well, maybe I'm just human as well.
And you know what? Sometimes that can strengthen that bond. We all need that. You know, certain people need that to have something outside of themselves to hope or aspire to, or just to, like you said, link yourself to certain moments or songs or whatever.
Yeah. But also, I think it helped me when, you know, later on I went through my own kind of psychiatric hell. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know, Mariah got to the other side of it. I'll
absolutely
be able to get to the other side of it.
All right. Well, we can hit it up with those lessons.
Yeah.
I feel like
we have learned a lot this week.
She just keeps teaching. What are we?
Yes.
Teaching and preaching. It's what Mariah does.
Oh, so much gorgeous preaching this week, which I loved.
All right. Let's do a little I don't know her.
Oh, who else? Like, really?
I've got it down that we definitively don't know anyone in Mariah's family.
No.
I don't think Patricia knows Alison because she hates Mariah, loves Morgan. Who's the other one?
Who's the other one?
I don't know.
I look after her kid.
We don't know Morgan's friend.
No.
No idea.
We don't know anyone who works at any of those alleged spas.
No. We don't know anyone
They're pushing
who mops.
or not.
And we don't know the New York Post.
We do not.
Can I throw that in there? Is that, do you reckon we've got it?
Yeah.
Anyone? Okay.
We don't know anyone.
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people that hate in this chapter.
A lot of people.
Like the terrorists. Right. The terrorists get more love.
We don't. Yeah. Oh my God. We don't know them either. To be very clear. Yeah. All right. Mariah-isms.
Oh, Mariah-isms. How did we go with our isms from last week?
All right. So I did put it up on Twitter for Lamley, and they had the options of I was barely conscious, but my standards were still awake.
It's so good. Cleaning the dog hair on the way upstairs.
And I saw that you enjoyed the drawing.
I loved the drawing of the dog hair so much.
Or I did the best that I could.
I did the best that I could. I still can't get enough of it.
I still hear you. And with a margin of just one vote, the winner is I was barely conscious, but my standards were still awake. I'm sorry. I feel bad because you were so
I would
into
be happy. I was
well, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah. Because it's Mariah being
the other
amazing.
one's Patricia.
But
it's
and
Mariah
everything is
being
Mariah.
hilarious about
True.
Patricia. But
so you've already kind of speculated that we may have the same Mariah-ism. I think that there was no other.
I mean, there were plenty.
There
of
were options, and we will. I've got some.
Yeah,
but should we say it together?
We could try. Are you starting at the start of the sentence?
No.
Oh.
Oh. All right, you say the sentence and then I'll chime in.
After all that shit, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States. I'm real.
I just went with I'm real because nothing else needs to be said.
Oh, no. I love after all that shit.
That's true.
Like, you know what? You've seen all of this and still I sold more records, bitch.
Yeah. What I thought was so crazy and hilarious was it's like we'd kind of forgotten about that. Because that was a couple of chapters ago. We dealt with it. That
was the start of this whole
another
section.
female entertainer.
Yeah.
And then we went into quite a serious, dark area, really, for a while. And we've had 9/11 attacks and Aaliyah's death. But Mariah's just like, but remember when that woman stole my freaking sample?
I still sold more than
I'm real. So we are in agreement, but I will mention a couple of, special little mentions.
Well, surely ATM in a week.
ATM in a week, making a comeback.
Yeah.
I returned to the scene of no crime, my mother's house. Correction, my house.
My house. By the way, is this the first time we've had ATM in a week in this book? Like, has it only been in interviews before?
She definitely did. We've talked about it in interviews. I think it was mentioned maybe once.
Yeah, maybe.
It's hard to know because even Michelangelo Davis, when she spoke to us, mentioned how much she loved the drawing of the ATM in a week with cleavage. Because of course, darling. Of course. But I think this might have to be the name of the episode because it was just when I heard it, if we didn't have anything real, this would have been my Mariahism, which is Frumpily Ensconced.
Frumpily Ensconced.
Who else on this green earth would put those words together?
Frumpily ensconced.
Me, I am frumpily ensconced.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Just a stellar turn of phrase.
Oh, Patricia really just does not.
I don't know if we will get any more Patricia. We might have closed the door.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like, I think we'll close the door on her emotionally.
Yeah.
But she may.
I mean, this is the whole thing. So, assuming that we're not getting any more Morgan, what was I found really interesting, the Allison thing was clean cut. It was like...
Yeah. This was the moment, like, the tea bag was done. I'm done.
The
dandelion tea, done.
Yes. The Patricia thing, as she said, more complicated. I get it. This is the woman who gave birth to her. But it seems that these two chapters were really damning to Patricia more than anyone.
Yeah. Bringing up something from, bringing up the private plane trip with the Morgan's my favorite. It's like, you have really closed the door on her right there. For us as readers, I think.
Yeah. The thing with Morgan, there's no clear-cut thing. And maybe there's more to come. But if we're assuming that there isn't, at this stage, it's quite intangible.
I think locking her up more than once.
Oh, for sure. Like, don't get me wrong. But even the way she kind of talks about it, it's a grey area, I think, is what's complex about that relationship. Yeah. And it gives me more of a sadness around that relationship, I think, because she may forever be wondering. I think with the others, it's kind of like, oh no, that's what that is. Yeah. But with his behaviors and all of that, could be seen in many ways. Some of it may have been absolutely intentional. Others, maybe he did care about her in that moment. Doesn't make it better. Doesn't make it fine. Doesn't mean she has to have a relationship with him. But it just made me kind of go, oh, that's a tough one, because there really is no actual thing to hold on to in terms of them together.
And then, look, we don't know. There may be something else.
Absolutely. And so that's the thing. That's what's fun, though. I'm like, for people who have read the book, they must be listening to this going, oh, they have no idea what's coming next.
I'm kind of hoping it's joyous, because we've got, what have we got coming up? We've got Emancipation of Mimi. We've got Dem Babies. Like, there's some amazing, beautiful things about to happen in her life. Like, so hopefully this has been the trough, and now we're heading back on the upswing for the final section of the book. But I don't know if that
I mean, there's no, apparently, James Packer
No.
There's no Eminem because neither of them pertain to the meaning of Mariah Carey.
No,
there was something that I didn't get to do in Meme Moments about Eminem this week. I'll see if I can do a little digging for next chapter. It may be nothing. I just happened to see it somewhere, but it didn't show up when I was doing other research. But I think we're almost home.
Oh, we're totally home now.
Home, home, home. At the end of the podcast, baby. Almost there, almost home. You could probably say, but you won't because of copyright. That's a no. So, what we're thinking for next Mariah Monday is we will be hitting up a little of the Glitter soundtrack.
The soundtrack that went to number 2.
Yes, we were thinking we're going to do the soundtrack first so that we can purely base any review on the songs themselves as an album, see how we feel, and then the week after we'll be doing a little Glitter the movie. Glitter the film. So we can see how everything applies, how do the songs work? Are there songs that don't make it into the movie? I don't know yet.
I think everything gets at least 30 seconds, Like
Heaven.
some of them you get a full play of the song, and some of them it's like, remember the old days where we used to be able to trial every song on iTunes and we'll just play 10 seconds each? Yeah.
So, click play, come on.
It's just a random 10 seconds from somewhere in the song. It's like, that's not even the chorus. What is this bit?
Yeah. I am excited to see if anyone's mopping in Glitter.
That's
as the DJ says, they're live.
But there may be some background mopping.
Moppy. We haven't really figured out or discussed how we're going to do Glitter yet, the movie, but we will figure that out.
We'll sort something out.
I'd sort of go for let's do a live viewing, but the 7 people that listen, we live in different countries. It'd be too hard.
Time zones. It'd be very confusing.
Oh, I did see. We've got some listeners in South Africa.
Hello.
Happening. Where were we very big? Brazil.
Oh, excellent.
So, we see you if you're out there. They probably stopped listening 8 chapters ago.
Yep.
And then, of course, once we've done the movie, we will hit up the emancipation section with my cousin Vinny.
My cousin Vinny?
I'm a little nervous because I know some information.
Oh.
Just about that cousin from another interview. It's not it's not a good thing. But it's not a Patricia situation.
Well,
but we might have some sadness.
Right. All right.
Just a fair warning.
Okay.
But we have Glitter first to make us happy. All right. If people would like to reach out, hit us up on the Instagram, the Twitters, the Facebooks at Me I Am a Memoir.
Excellent.
You can email us, meamemoir@gmail.com. Leave us a review, the 5 stars, please.
Or any review from anywhere. We would just love it.
We would love it. And I will read it out.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll see you next week with Glitter.
Glitter.
Bye, Emily.